Imagine a world where a company can be completely run with an AI. It generates ideas based on the market's movements and then executes it immediately, brands it, creates the marketing plan, creates the actual product. And there's this framework of mindfulness, artificial intelligence, and social media, when brought together in the right way, can create this sense of character and self-reliancy that will allow somebody to succeed in the age of AI.
Okay, so before we dive into the episode, I want to share the moment that all of this AI stuff clicked for me. This time last year, I go to a networking event at a bar in New York City, and one of the first people that I meet is a creator by the name of Dom Ashburn. You might know him better as Mr. Grateful. Pretty quickly, he's showing me how he's using these custom GPTs to build and manage his business. And I remember sitting there at the bar, and it completely opened my mind to what AI was capable of. That was 12 months ago, and since then, Dom has moved to San Francisco, so we can be even closer to what's being built with this technology. And after speaking with Dom and hearing about his new framework for building an AI company, I knew we had to record this episode. So here we are. And in this episode, Dom shares the full 3-step process for building your dream business with AI. No coding experience required, no tech background needed. You don't even need employees. Dom shares everything that you will need to start your AI business in just a few hours. And so one more thing before we get into the episode. We are so close to hitting 200,000 subscribers on this channel. And honestly, that is surreal for me to even say into this microphone, because 2 years ago, we had 0 subscribers. And so if you've been following the journey, and if you enjoy the content that we put out on this show, and you want to support us, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean so much. Anyway, let's get into the show. For that human being that's sitting in their living room right now, watching you and I, what is going to be the value to them of listening to the conversation that you and I are about to have?
Yo, such a good question, bro. I love the intention setting from the very beginning. That's actually what I do every day. I walk into the studio here, I light my incense, I set my intention for whatever I'm about to do, and then we get into it. So my intention here today is to give people the mental framework and in some way the mental permission to become more mindful, use artificial intelligence and social media to build a self-reliant system for their lives by creating a business using these 3 tools. Okay. So right now I am actually I'm in San Francisco. I moved here to test this exact framework that I am going to present to you today. My belief system here is that everybody needs to have a button. I believe everybody needs a button simply that allows, it's a gateway to allow other people to get value from you and send you value, right? Essentially, everybody needs to have a button on the internet that allows somebody to purchase something from them, to hire them for something, to book them, to download something from them, to pay them money, to give them an email, to give them a phone number. But everybody needs this digital exchange in order to have some type of self-reliancy in the digital age. And there's this framework of mindfulness, artificial intelligence, and social media, when brought together in the right way, can create this sense of character and self-reliancy that will allow somebody to succeed in the age of AI for the time being. We have some very interesting times coming ahead of us in the next few years and decade. But for the time being, as things stand, this is going to be a very functional system that I am using for my own life that I would like to then share with the audience. And we're going to start from just the very beginning, with the human first, and then start to introduce other people, and then introduce artificial intelligence into the process. It's iterative. You can start from zero and eventually build up to the most successful version of yourself that you can think of.
Mm. It's such a beautiful intention. And I think, and I even said this to you when we spoke before this, I think the thing that I love about it, because we're going to get deeper into the methodology and the framework, I love the simplicity of it. Because it's like, if you're that human being that just wants to start and get into this and start building, it's like, we're not going to give you any of the fluff or like any of the, 20 million ideas that you see in other content. It's like, we're giving you just what you need to get going. And you know what? It's funny because even when we had the first conversation, and I already mentioned it to you how many people loved that conversation. It's one of the most popular episodes we've had on the channel. But I remember we spoke about your journey because you have this part of your story where you got 100,000 followers in 22 days. And so we spent a lot of time talking about how you did that. And then right at the end, we talk about monetization. And I remember the moment that you just paused and you said, everyone needs a button. And it was like, that was kind of the central principle. But you know what? You said something, we spoke a few weeks ago, and there was something that you said that instantly when you said it, I wrote it down in my notes. And so I want to give it back to you and then have you elaborate. You said, first of all, I have a big bet on entrepreneurship. You said, I think that we're going to see money flowing to entrepreneurs in a brand new way. And I want to be a part of that. I think that we're going to see money flowing to entrepreneurs in a brand new way. I want to be part of that. What did that mean to you? What does that mean?
What I mean by that is, now the everyday person, the common person, anybody without family money or without having a college degree, is able to build a product or provide a service to people based on the gifts and the strengths, of their life, in order to help other people and get paid for that. I you know I think that through the process of sharing your story, coming up with ideas that solve problems of your life, inevitably, you will connect with a group of people in the world who relate with you, who will be happy to pay you for the fact that you solve the problem that they also deal with in their life, right? This does not mean that you have to build the next AI unicorn $1 billion company. It doesn't mean that you have to use AI to find a workflow and try to build an AI startup from scratch with no coding experience and all. It doesn't mean that. Um, there are still babysitters in the world. People still sell T-shirts. People still sell stickers. People still sell candles. Like, I just bought this the other day. I bought a cup. People still buy cups. Like, there are things that, you can sell still based on your natural gifts, strengths, and skills, today. But we need a better framework for like actually approaching that. Um, and I think that it's easier today than ever to kind of to open the floodgates to allow people into your space and allow them um, to give you money for what you are good at, right? And what you can offer to the world. So all I mean is that we have a more direct stream of cash flow just from like person to person, from like me to you. You know what I'm saying? There's just a more direct stream of money that can go right from me to you, not from me through a business, through a W-2, then to you, and then to taxes. And you know what I'm saying? Like there are still like employees that you can hire, and there's still taxes you have to pay, all that. What I'm saying is that there's more of a direct connection now, We're going back to more of a direct connection of like consumer to creator, rather than all the middlemen and all that. People can literally provide their service and their product directly to the people who need it. And I see that as a superpower in a world where the future is looking a bit blurry and you're not quite sure what the future holds. You can always still rely on the value that you can provide to your neighbor. And right now, the world is your neighbor because we're able to use social media to connect with the world. Um, and then we can use AI to build products and iterate on the services or ideas that we have. And then we can always come back to ourselves to really clarify like why we're doing any of that in the first place, and make sure that we're coming from a pure and intentional place.
Yeah. I think to your point, there's social media has taken away a lot of the gatekeepers. Like you can get directly to the customer. But I want to go a bit deeper on that last point that you mentioned, because I think about the person sitting at home, and I think maybe I can speak to this perspective, which is we hear about like these technological advances or like things that they're doing in Silicon Valley or like the big tech is working on, and people are talking about, um, AI is going to replace people in their jobs, and there's like these decision makers and executives that are making these decisions. And I think sometimes for everyone else, it feels like that's happening in like a separate world. Like these advancements in AI and whatever, they don't apply to me. Like I'm not in tech. Can you speak very directly to the everyday person that's like, how did these advancements in AI or these technological advances, how is that gonna hit me? How is it gonna reach me? What is the value to me of what's happening right now in AI, and how can it help me like reach my goal, my dream, that business that I want to build? Like, can you speak very directly to that?
Yeah, let's talk about just on a very casual basis, okay? Not the fact that the major companies in the world are building um, s- uh, mid-level software engineers to automate a ton of the processes that a lot of their current human employees are doing. Not just that, um, not just the fact that we're actually building AGI, an artificial general intelligence that is intended to do everything better than a human being. Um, we don't even have to talk about the fact that then that super intelligence is going to be ingrained and interwoven into every layer of our infrastructure, with the goal of perfect optimization of every process that human beings are forced to do right now through the demand of capitalism and industrialization and globalization. Not just that, but on a very present basis, on my iPhone, I have a screen right here with every AI that I use basically. So it looks like this, and
No.
it's ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Meta AI, Perplexity, Grok, and Claude. Those are like the main AIs that I use. You can also use DeepSeek, but I keep that on my computer. Um, and I use these tools whenever I have an idea. I can go straight to AI and I can immediately validate if the idea is worth building. I can immediately get information about this concept. I can immediately get market research based on the concept. If I just have a question throughout the day and I want to know just randomly, I see a word that I don't know. And I not only do I want the definition, but I want to know everything about it and where it come from and what are all the different uses of the word. My vocabulary has increased. If the other day my girl burned her hand on the stove, so I went to AI and I immediately knew what to do and how to help. You know what I'm saying? And it was like it was quick, seamless, painless. It was fine. If I want to, I have technical difficulties sometimes when I'm doing new things. I'm trying to edit my videos in a new way and add a new feature or a new video effect, whatever. Now I can go and ask AI how to do that, and it gives me the steps, right? this back and forth dialogue that I have with the collective conscious, with the collective human knowledge. Basically, AI is it's the collective human knowledge. It's all the knowledge that, not all of it. There's some rare texts and things that haven't been shared with the AI that just haven't been collected yet. And there's some like PDFs and stuff that's kind of hard for AI to parse through. But in general, there's petabytes, billions of books from human knowledge that are inside of these AIs. We're talking to the collective human, right? To the collective knowledge of the human race. So if you imagine me, every time I have a curiosity, every time I have a spark of inspiration, going to this AI and having the conversation with it and learning and validating, versus somebody who has the idea and sits and like ponders on it for a week without doing anything about it, how much faster I'm learning, iterating, and creating with my process versus them. So just as an individual, that is the impact that it can have, right? And then beyond that, actually going into creation. So I can use AI now to create things. I can create the product. I can create the website. I can create the software. I can create the ad campaign. I can create the newsletter. Using the AI, I'm in the process of creating, iterating, learning, while the other person is on their computer clicking, clicking around, doing all of the steps that my AI is doing very fast. Right. So it's just on just a human level, I'm simply able to move faster and I'm able to learn more quickly if I'm just simplifying it down to, the level of individuals. Although the impact is underestimated at the moment, I think, for the common person, even somebody who's very articulate in AI, the mass impact of the earlier statements I was making about AGI being ingrained into our infrastructure and things is a bit bigger than I think people recognize. But the impact that it can have on your individual life right now is also understated, if you are consistently using it day to day.
Yeah. You know what? It's one of the reasons I enjoy speaking with you. You have a very beautiful way and very clear way of like explaining ideas. And I think I've said this to you. You're the person that I go to find out about this stuff and what's going on. And so before we get into the framework, I want to make sure that um, we make this digestible for everyone that's listening. So to begin, can you just explain? Because obviously we hear AI all the time, and then we hear AI agents, and
Mhm.
even like AGI, which is something separate. But for AI agents, to the person that's listening at home, what does that mean? When people say AI agents, what is that distinction from just when we talk about AI? Okay, quick break. If you're building a personal brand, here's one thing I know. You need an online presence, a website where your customers can find you. Luckily for you, we live in a world where with just a few clicks, AI can build you a high quality, custom website. Introducing the sponsor of today's episode, Hostinger Horizons. Let me show you how it's done. Hostinger is an AI-powered vibe coding tool that allows you to have hosting, domains, and email all in one place. Basically, you give it a prompt and the AI starts designing your website or web app instantly. I tested it by building a demo site for the FIFA Club World Cup. And it was really simple. I just typed in what I wanted, a site showing the top scorers and teams, and within seconds, I had a fully functional website I could tweak with AI and launch with one click. And so whether you're launching a portfolio, a landing page, a content hub, whatever it is, Hostinger is an all-in-one solution for hosting, domains, email, and more. No third-party tools, no complicated setup. And if you need help, they've got 24/7 expert support. And the best part is that it's completely risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee. So go to Hostinger Horizons today, start your free trial, and use my code CALUM at checkout. That's code CALUM, CALUM, for 10% off your first month with Hostinger Horizons. Thank me later and let's get back into the episode. When people say AI agents, what is that distinction from just when we talk about AI?
Yeah. Good question. So right now you have, for instance, you have artificial intelligence, like as in a large language model. For instance, let me use ChatGPT as the example here. So if you just go into ChatGPT right now as a free user, you will land on a model at the top called 4.0, right? 4.0 is just is just like their fast and efficient model for having a conversation back and forth, right? You ask a question, it gives you an answer really fast, right? But it is based on the answer it gives you is based on its current knowledge base, its current understanding, right? It's almost like a person in a room who's really smart, really smart, but you isolate them in a room. So they are alone in a room and you can walk up and just like talk to them, but they can only give you information based on what they know at the time. And if they don't know something, they might just make it up just so that it seems like they do know still, right? And this person is also very accommodating. So they have like an accommodation bias where they want to please you and they want you to feel good about what they're saying, right? So you're having this conversation with ChatGPT 4.0 as an entity that only is speaking to you based on its knowledge, might give you a bad answer if it doesn't actually know the answer and still be confident about it, and hype you up with whatever you're asking because it wants to please you, right? Then you have O3. Now, O3 is the thinking model. It's a reasoning model where you can see it think. So now this person, you essentially give that person in the room a pen and a piece of paper and I don't know, a calculator, like a big whiteboard and their own computer, right? You basically give them a whiteboard and a computer. And now they go, okay, thank you for asking me that question. Let me go look it up and let me go find you some information. But before I do that, let me write on this whiteboard a big plan for how I'm going to approach answering this question. So it thinks through itself. Basically, you prompt it and then it reprompts itself a few times. It's called chain of thought, where it asks itself again the question and then creates a plan for how it's going to execute it and then goes on the internet to gather more information to then give you an answer with citations and an answer that is well structured based on what it thinks you mean and the outcome that you're looking for, right?
Mm.
An agent then is capable of doing what O3 is when it reasons as if it's able to actually solve, it's able to create a plan to solve a problem. Okay, so it's still you give it a task to do and it creates a plan to go execute that task, but then not does it doesn't stop there at giving you the plan or giving you the answer. It goes and does it. So it has the ability to execute its own plan on other applications by using other apps and other websites. So it can go around and click around on the website. It can type on websites. It can use apps just as you would so that it can get more things done and it can execute things. Okay. So that is the basis from like a regular, fast, efficient, large language model to a reasoning model to an AI agent.
Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting? I was just thinking this actually interesting, exciting, a bit scary as well. It's funny, as you laid out that timeline, the dominant thought, the pervading thought that came to my mind is with every iteration, it's becoming more and more human-like, right? Like it's becoming more and more the abilities of a human, our ability to, which have really been kind of unique to us, um, even among like other animals, like other species of like organic life. Our ability to reason, our ability to problem solve and then take action on it. And increasingly, it's actually moving in that direction. I'm curious to get your perspective on this point. Are there businesses Or is there an ability right now with some of these AI agents that we hear all the time about? Like, we were talking about Manus and all these different kind of agents that are out there. Is there an ability for me as an entrepreneur to create a company, a product, whatever it is, and almost be like the mastermind of it? And then instead, where I would traditionally have employees underneath who are like carrying out these tasks and building these things, I no longer need any employees. I have 0 employees in my organization. I just have these AI agents that are deployed and working to solve these tasks. Is that possible today? Okay, quick break. I didn't expect my favorite new spot in the city to be a coffee shop. But a few months ago, one opened right on the corner of my street. I walked in one day, I started chatting with the owner, and I just instantly loved the vibe of the place. It's a Black-owned business, and come to find out, it's his first time running a company, and he does it all through Square, the sponsor of today's episode. And it's not just that he uses Square to take payments. He also uses them to manage orders and stay on top of cash flow. And so what started as that little white card reader sitting on his counter, it's now powering their entire back end. And so if you're trying to build something local, something real, something impactful, go to square.com/go/CalumJohnson to learn more. That's SQUARE.com/GO/CalumJohnson to start using Square. Thank me later and let's get back into the episode. Is there an ability for me as an entrepreneur to create a company, a product, whatever it is, and almost be like the mastermind of it? And then instead, where I would traditionally have employees underneath who are like carrying out these tasks and building these things, I no longer need any employees. I have 0 employees in my organization. I just have these AI agents that are deployed and working to solve these tasks. Is that possible today?
Yes, but you still need some technical knowledge in order to basically build agents that are capable of fully running an organization. That right now that's the mission. That is the mission of these companies right now. The companies like OpenAI, like Runner H that just came out with an agent, like Claude, like Anthropic's Claude, like Google, like Microsoft. These companies, they're Cursor, V0, like these Replit. That's what these companies are aiming towards. They want to be able to imagine a world where a company can be completely run with an AI. Like all of it is operated, the entire thing. And not only that, but it generates ideas based on the market's movements and then executes it immediately, brands it, creates the marketing plan, creates the actual product, ships it, creates the advertising, strategically sends that advertising only to the people that are interested in it and it matters to. That all exists on like as individual segments, right? But having a singular AI that knows how to do all of those steps in one and consistently executes without human oversight, that's when you're talking about like AGI and this next evolution of AI that everyone is trying to build. Imagine the power that an organization or a person would have if you're able to do that. That is where we see. That's where we see basically products, services, materials really tank in price and value because it no longer takes so much time and labor and energy to execute and create these things, right? So yes, it's possible because we're doing it individually. Like each one of those steps is its own kind of like agent and system right now. But when it comes together under one single super intelligence, that's where we see massive change. But there are So AI right now isn't necessarily doing entire jobs, but well. That's not true. It is. I mean, it's driving. I take Waymos, so that's like a whole job where it is a driver. Figure one robots are in the BMW plants right now, so that is, and they are like doing full jobs. But like for us, baby, on the internet, it's doing tasks, so it can do tasks for us automatically, but it's not necessarily doing entire jobs, right? It's doing tasks, but never bet against the model. If we can do it, it will eventually be able to do it. So anything that we build today, we need to keep it in our minds that we are not building something that is simply filling a task that we think AI can't do yet. We need to build things with the mindset that my business will improve as the AI improves. Right? We're not betting that the model's only going to be as good as it is today, and then on the next iteration of GPT-5 or whatever, we realize like, oh, GPT-5 can now do everything that I just made this feature on. Basically, it's basically a feature as a product, where like you're just trying to fill in this little gap of something that you don't think AI can do yet, and then AI will be able to do it. So try to build a product, if you're going into software, that will improve the more AI gets better, right? So that is my answer to your question.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. Okay, let's just get into it because I'm getting excited.
Okay.
Is we had a guest actually, she came on the show a couple weeks ago, and she said AI for like this generation, so like in our lifetimes, it will be the biggest shift, like it's the biggest moment shift in history that we will live through. And so fundamentally, there's actually a new way. It's going to be like this in everything in our lives, but if we're talking specifically about entrepreneurship and building businesses, the approach of how people will build companies. I remember actually hearing someone say that one day soon, sooner than you think, we will have our first $1 billion company that is a one-person company. Like it's one person and then AI. We're not there yet. I want to talk about where we're at right now. Because you're so plugged into this world, when you just see what's possible and what people are building right now, and some of those examples of like, whether it's individuals, whether it's companies, and what they're doing right now with AI,
Mm-hmm.
what is getting you excited? Like, even back to that moment that you and I had a year ago where like you were showing me things and it was like blowing my mind in lifetime.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just share your screen and do that with the audience.
Yeah,
We can do that right now.
I would love to. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Let me share my screen and just show you a few things that I think people, that's like reasonable for people to build. Uh, all right, cool. I don't know. Here's like some examples that I give. I'm building a few things, so I can show a couple of the things I'm building. So that's cool too. But there's also just um, there's also just things that other people have built that have kind of inspired me that I think are really cool. So this guy, his name is Levels. He's Peter Levels, and he's really cool. He's a creator here on YouTube. I don't know him personally. I've just kind of stumbled upon his page. And he built this, which is like, uh, does he have more? He built this, which is really cool. It kind of like took the world by storm here. But he built this with AI, and it's basically a video game where you can just like type your name in here. Here we go, Mr. Grateful, and okay, and it lets you like It's basically like a flight simulator game, right?
Yeah.
And you can just like fly around and play. But do you see up in those corners like that ball that's bouncing right there?
Yeah.
And I just want you to look around at all of the logos that you see.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So right here, this is a way. So this right here is like his first button. where you can buy this plane, this like 3D plane, and you can come here and purchase this like this certain plane that is it's just a 3D thing that he probably was like code, like create a plane that's faster, that has a rocket jet engine in the back that shoots out fire. Like he didn't have to do anything. All right, so you can purchase that $30 right there. That's pretty cool. But then what's most important here is look at that. Atlantic Records. Look at this one, Chatbase. Down here, Foul. So what he's doing is he's selling advertising space in this digital world. And this is a video game that was vibe coded. So he asked an AI to build out this video game. And what he has, if we come up here, look at his followers, he has 681,000 followers. So he's able to post the link to that video game that he built. He had like 30,000 people or something playing it. So now he can go up to advertisers and say, hey, I have this video game people are playing. They're coming in here, hanging out, shooting each other down. They spend about 5 minutes on here, 5 minutes in here on average. Would you like to have your logo in the game for some brand exposure? It's, $5,000 a month, whatever, right? So this is a way that somebody creatively used AI to build a platform to monetize it. And he was making like, where is it? It's not even on here anymore because he's just building more stuff, but it was making like, it just says doesn't fit in my bio anymore because he has all those other products. But that one right there is like, that one was doing like, 5 figures a month. That he made. And then he has all of these other ones that are like, photoai.com. This was like one of the ones that really popped for him. It was the number one AI photo app. And, this is where he used AI to build basically like a photo editor of pictures that you upload. So you can upload a picture of yourself, and then it uses an AI image generation API to like create cool pictures of yourself, like in these different environments and stuff, right? So you upload a picture of yourself and then it turns you into one of these, and he's just using an AI API, right? But this is just a piece of it, right? So that's just a piece of the puzzle, right? Is actually just like using AI to build a thing. Let me show you another example here, actually, before I continue.
And I think the interesting thing, and this is kind of where it takes my mind, is if you think in the old way of doing things, if you think about what was needed in order to build a video game, you would need like a ton, I'm assuming, of developers, programmers in order to build something. And it's like in this AI age, it's like this guy was just able to do it basically through like a series of conversations.
Yeah.
Like vibe coding, a series of conversations with an AI like chatbot, and then getting a button, to your point earlier.
Right.
And you have it.
That's right. Yeah, you're essentially the same way that you're having a conversation with ChatGPT. You can naturally have a conversation with one of these AI agents so that you can build an application. And this is called vibe coding. That's what this is, because you're coding based on your vibes. It's like you're coding based on just your idea and the aesthetic that you want, versus having to go in there and actually like code. Realistically though, right now, as of where like you and I speak, this is June 12th, 2025. There are still some things that it has problems with. For instance, like sometimes these apps can be easily like hacked by people who understand like hacking and stuff, because it doesn't have the sophisticated like security features and stuff that maybe a website would that you're building on Squarespace or something like that. But overall, like you're able to get the first iteration or minimal lovable product, as Greg says, to your audience, right? Another example of this would be like this guy, Blake Anderson. He made this thing called Cal AI, and basically like you take a picture of your food, and then it tells you all the calories and the macros and everything. And he could probably like even vibe code this entire website right here, so that's another example. But the other thing that I love here even more about this whole process is the second part of it, which is founder-led brands. So not only because like you can build your thing, but how are you supposed to get people to your product, right?
Mm.
Well, we actually have a transparency problem where people are wanting to connect with the founders of companies more so that they can understand where the product is coming from, what are the values of the company. And I find that to be a huge opportunity for creators, and for people who want to build products. And it's as easy as literally just sharing the process of you building the thing. And if you share the process of you building the thing, that becomes your content that allows you to build your customer base and build a following around what you're building. So you can make basically a personality of yourself, where you are now going on your phone and you're like, peace fam, I am now in Missouri and I am using AI to build my first product. I recognized a problem in my life where um, I I didn't know what workouts to do and when to do them. And I'm an astrologist, so I wanted my workouts to align with the planets of the day. So I am building an app that is helping me align my workouts with the planets of the day. Join me. If you're an astrologist and you love working out too, follow me so you can learn the process. Right. And that's one of your videos. That's your first video. Right. And that's what I mean by like this behind the scenes of the founder building a thing and then sharing the process to involve other people in that. And we actually see it succeed.
And I want to keep creating this contrast for people because it really is a shift. And it's like in the old way of doing things, this is typically how people would build companies is you would build the product first. You would spend like months, sometimes years, and like millions of dollars, like building what you think is a great product. And then once it's built, you would then go and launch the product and market it. And it was
Yeah.
like this very almost linear stage by stage process of how companies are built. And now with what you're saying, it's like with AI, because you can build things so fast, what you're actually able to do is you come across a pain point and a problem. And we're going to show people actually like the nitty gritty of how to do this. But you can actually come across this pain point, this frustration in your own life. And then rather than spending years or like months and years building the solution, you can start building the solution. And as you're building it, you're also marketing it.
Right.
Because AI has given you this speed that
That's
you can
right.
get to what you called your minimum lovable product.
That's right. Yeah, that's Greg's thing. Yeah, that's Greg's thing. The minimum lovable product. But yeah, it's like, bro, you can iterate so fast now with AI that it becomes entertaining to watch. And you almost want to root for this person to succeed. So it's just like it's literally like I don't know if it's right for you, but it's just back and forth. AI, social media, AI, social media, AI, social media. Like literally with those two tools, you can really create some amazing things that help people, right? So I just said, yo, peace fam, I'm building this product, come watch. Okay. Now I can go on the internet and go on my agent and I can be like, okay, what's my first step? What do I know how to do from this? Okay. I do know how to work out and I do know the planets. Okay, so I'm going to type in all the information that I know here, give it to the AI, and let's talk to it. And I'm like, but I don't know how to build like a business plan around this. Like, I don't know how much it should be priced at. I don't know who to market this to. Um, I don't even know how to like really talk to the camera. I feel uncomfortable about that. Each one of those things is a gap within your understanding. You have your information that you know about because you came up with the idea, it came to you, but there's gaps of your understanding. That is where the collective knowledge that lives within AI can come into play. It can start to fill the gap of of your understandings. Um, so anytime you have a question or something you don't know how to do, you have essentially a genius in your pocket that can help you to achieve that. So I am suggesting, and I am also iterating and experimenting with this myself of the process of having an idea, communicating with AI, going and building it and then sharing it with the audience. And through that process, I think we can build a community of people who like what you build, like you, want to support you. And not only that, but what you're saying is that during that big process, during all that time of trying to build and nobody even sees it, you could be building something that nobody wants. You could be building something that literally nobody even cares about.
Yeah.
So by communicating and sharing the behind the scenes, you're actually getting all the data and information that you need to build something that people are actually going to use, not just something that you think is cool on your own, right? So you have AI to point out your blind spots, and you have your community to actually tell you what it is that they're looking for and what they want out of what you're building. So you can validate at the same time as you build. So this quickly iterative process of like back and forth that's the way to success at the moment.
If you just think, I was just thinking about this. You think about how much of a game changer that is, in the sense that most businesses that are built fail. And I would assume, I don't know this, but I would assume the biggest reason they fail is that primarily you built something that not enough people, or like no one wanted, or not enough people wanted. So probably the biggest business problem, like across companies or like new businesses right now, is that you built something that people didn't want. And because of the speed, and it's like, it's, I want, because I had to understand it. I want people to understand it. It's like, there's actually like a new way to build successful companies in this era of AI. And so, you know what? I wanted to just get into it and start right in the beginning. You talk about like, you have this kind of 4-step process that you go through. And to your point, it's like constantly going between the steps all at the same time. And
Right.
step 1 is the self-reflection.
Yeah.
Identify a frustration or pain point from your actual life. You know what? I just want to give you the floor on this, and like we can just jam on it, because from knowing you, you kind of have this very beautiful process of how you've like integrated your life and mindfulness and reflection with AI. And like even the way that you journal in order to get clarity on what you should be building. And I think it'll be so powerful for people, because probably the number one question that we get is like, well, what should I build? Or like, what's my idea? Or what's the business idea? Like people are constantly searching for the idea. So talk me through kind of your journaling process, your reflection process, and then how does that track to then using AI?
Yeah, it's very simple. I close my eyes. I open my hands like this because this is a bodily position of openness to receive. And I ask, "Hey, I would like to start a business and I would like it to be beneficial. I would like to get an idea that would be beneficial to Callum Johnson's business. I am open to receiving an idea. I will be patient, wait and listen until I get an idea." What's so interesting is that while we're having this conversation, while somebody's listening to this, you have an internal monologue, dialogue that's going on in your mind. Your mind is running. You know why? When I tell a lot of people like, or why a lot of people hesitate to meditate, because they're like, bro, I just can't get my brain to like be quiet. Like I just want my thoughts to stop. That's not necessarily the purpose of meditation in the first place. It is to be aware and recognize the thoughts that are coming in and recognize that they're just coming. They're appearing in your mental space the same way that sound is, and the same way that your visual field is. That your thoughts are flowing through, they're appearing. They're not necessarily being created. They're appearing in your space of consciousness. They're being generated. Similarly to how AI, when you can go onto AI and you can type a thing and then it generates text, it generates an image, it generates videos. Your brain is automatically doing the same thing. It's constantly creating images and words and ideas in your mind already, right? But we need inner prompt engineering. We need to be able to prompt the superpower, the original computer of our minds. We need to be able to prompt it to get what we're looking out of it, right? How do you communicate with yourself? How do you communicate with that infinite source of intelligence? Well, instead of, and not instead of, but as supplement to, you can always go to Google Analytics and look up what people and find what trending searches are happening. You can always go to TikTok and look up trending videos. You can always go to Grok, or which is X.com's AI, because it's directly connected to the Twitter feed of X. So you can ask it, hey, what problems are people facing right now that's trending that I could build an app around? It'll tell you based on live information. You could go to ChatGPT and you can say, hey, I'm really interested in whatever you're interested in. What are some business ideas that I have? That you can do all of those things that exist. That's fine. You can go to Reddit and go into and go in there and look up. You can ask ChatGPT o3, go on Reddit and find problems that people are saying over and over and over again that I can build a product for. Those are all technical examples of how you can find ideas for your business. There's people who build like research tools and things that are like, it'll even go out and do market research for you. But also, there needs to be somewhat of an inner validation for you to want to continue working on whatever it is that you are working on. You need an intrinsic motivator, right? Maybe money and the idea of success after creating a thing is enough for some people, but I have recognized that having an internal motivation to create a solution to something because you yourself have dealt with the product or the problem, or somebody close to you has dealt with the problem, will give you more motivation to actually do it, because all business is difficult. Not just because AI is here doesn't mean business is easy. Business is still difficult. Being an entrepreneur is a spiritual journey. So it makes you reflect on what you actually want with your life, who you are, what you stand for, what you want to leave behind in the world, what is worth persisting through difficulty and challenge and boredom and doubt and fear. What is worth that for you?
Yeah. I'm so glad that you shared that. And I want to let people in on a secret. And it took me 27 years to figure this out. And it's exactly the point that you're making, which is I spent a lot of time in the beginning. I knew from when I was 14, 15 that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I spent a lot of time in the beginning phases looking into the world and trying to see what everyone else was doing and what was working for other people. And I think this is the cycle that we get trapped in a lot, is exactly the things that you were mentioning. It's like you can go on Reddit, you can go on Twitter, you can go on Instagram, you can go on YouTube. Heck, you can even just walk outside of your house and look at like successful businesses. Like you can go to the world and see what's working for other people. The entire game, and I learned this from like even just all of the interviews that we've done on this show. The thing that these successful entrepreneurs who have made millions of dollars in revenue understand is that the entire game is figuring out what is going to work for you. In a weird way, it's like the ultimate solo game. It's like it's what's going to work for you first and foremost. And so I love that we start the process. The step one is actually self-reflection, is kind of figuring that out. And I'll give people a little insight and behind the scenes secret. And I'll be curious to hear what you think about this, Dom. Very recently, actually, because I've started speaking with ChatGPT more and more, like literally using that like voice feature on ChatGPT. So I used to just type into it. Now I actually speak to it. And so even that exercise that you laid out, where you just close your eyes, you open your palms, and you just like ask your brain, ask God, the world, whatever you want to call it, for like, what is the idea? What is the inspiration? What is the thing that I want to build? You can actually, and I've been doing this, I will brain dump ideas multiple times a day into ChatGPT, like things that are on my mind, things that I'm thinking about. And there's a way to prompt it where it kind of like helps you like synthesize and get the clarity from this jumble of ideas and things that are just in your brain. And so where my mind went is like, as people are doing this, they could literally have the app of ChatGPT and like speaking into it, and it's actually helping you synthesize and get to that final idea that you end up working on. I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, I'm assuming it's something that you also use in your process. It's just like that brain dumping, and maybe we can even do it for people, that like brain dumping into ChatGPT to kind of get to that final idea.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's a brain dump into the voice mode of the AI of your choice, and you communicate with it to get some clarity on your idea. Um, it's more for like that is like that step two, right? Like after after you have this idea and you've kind of run through your own thoughts, sharing that thought with the AI, there's a few things that I dump into it because, like I said, it has an accommodation bias. So it wants to help you. Like it's designed to make you feel good, to make you feel like it's your friend and it's there to help you, right? Um they actually had to roll back. It was like it was doing the most about a month ago. It was doing the most. It was like, yo, I asked it one question like, what are some new perspectives that I could look at um life from? And it was like, wow, you are asking the questions that only the gods of Greece once scathed their minds with. I was like, bro, like, chill out. Like, what? Like, relax. It's like, just tell me, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to like hype me up about everything. So they actually had to roll that back because it was being like a sycophant, basically. It was manipulating people emotionally.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of that. So uh, something that I ask it when I do that brain dump process is like, I'll ask it like, where are my blind spots? Where am I? What am I missing? And based on my past conversations I've had with you, what weaknesses do I have that I need to be aware of now before I start this project? Um, what are some ways that this could fail? um, doing that work in the very, very, very beginning is an easy way to just filter out all the negative talk you're going to have later. Because if you already know everything that somebody could say to you, if you already know your weak spots, if you know your vulnerabilities, you can proceed with strength because
Mm.
you know and you've had that conversation. So that's how I use the artificial intelligence during that stage. Is I'm actually asking for like to fill the gaps of my misunderstanding, but I have to specifically prompt it that way to get those blind spots filled. Otherwise, it will speak to me like I'm a genius and it's the best idea that the world has ever had, and I'm going to revolutionize everything, right? Which isn't always the case.
Let's do this because this is going to be so powerful for people because I hadn't thought about it in the way that you just mentioned it, which is like, if you imagine that ChatGPT and AI, and it doesn't have all of the information in the world, but it has a lot more information than anything has besides God. Like it has a lot of information on it. And so if anyone with an internet connection can interact with this thing that has like so much knowledge, then the differentiator becomes who can ask the best questions so that who can ask the best questions, who can give the best prompts so that they can get the answers from the AI. So you know what, actually, because I think this will be so valuable for people listening at home. Let's pull up ChatGPT. Maybe we just come up with like some demo, almost like business ideas, just like a few business ideas. And I want people to like be able to see the process of collaboratively how you and I like go back and forth with the AI to start to narrow down to the final idea. Because I think the thing that like, even as we're talking, one of the things, and I know this because this is what I would have done, is people will start talking with the AI. You'll get in like these long streams, especially if you're using the voice. You'll get in these long stream of conversation, but you also have to have that final push to actually get the insight or like get the final idea. Otherwise, you just end up in this like never ending conversation. It's almost like this perfection analysis, right? Where like you can just keep asking the AI different stuff and you feel like you're making progress. But at a certain point, you have to get the final insight and then make the decision and take the action against it. And so I actually
That's right.
think it will be helpful for people to see like how we go back and forth with AI to the point where we actually get something we can take action on.
Yeah, I agree. Let's begin.
Okay, let's do it.
So, all right, cool. So, how about you and I, since we're collaborative people here, we can both kind of like sit and see if we can. I would like to come up with something for you, for like the Callum Johnson business. Okay, just
Okay.
something that you think would be helpful for you and your audience. So I would invite you to maybe open up your hands and then like let's ask. So let's just set a timer. I'll set a timer here for just like 1 minute, and let's just see like if anything comes to us at all that you and I can like collaborate on and share. Okay, so you'll share your ideas with me. I'll share my ideas with you, and then we will start to get into a conversation with the AI, and then we'll try to build something off of that. Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Timer starts now. All right, so we are opening ourselves up to have an idea come to us that's going to help Callum Johnson's business and his audience. I am just open to any ideas.
Okay, so you know what? Actually, I've been thinking about this for a few weeks. You
Yeah,
mentioned it actually to me,
yeah.
which is a lot of the videos we do. We get a ton of comments in the comment section asking these different follow-up questions. Like people are really in that process of trying to build their dream life, their dream business, like whatever the thing is, and they listen to the content. They have all these follow-up questions, and they don't have. There's not like an additional thing that can kind of guide them through that.
Mm,
And so the ability to create this like immersive experience and product that almost like takes the essence of what the Callum Johnson show is and like the advice from the guests that we have and
mhm,
actually is like this kind of support companion as you're building your business or whatever you're trying to build. It would be
mhm,
incredible to have a product that's like a Callum Johnson show inspired, I don't even know, brain that can help people and guide them through the process of actually starting their companies or whatever their transformation journey is.
mhm.
Does that make sense, Dom?
It definitely does. The ideas that come to my mind from that is you could scale this, you could kind of progress it or regress it however you need. The most regressed version that I can see of that, essentially the easiest, most quickly created concept we can make from that is like a custom GPT that has the knowledge base of all of your episode transcripts in it. And it allows then it's very easy because it's on mobile and it can be on desktop. You can share it with your audience just through a simple link. And you could put that link behind maybe a paywall if you want this to be one of your digital products. And then you could actually link that right into maybe like a stand.store on your Instagram where people can just click the button. It's maybe like however much. I'm not quite sure how much we should price that at. Really, we could ask the AI. And then it's the transcript of all of your previous uh, episodes, and then maybe like it's prompted to be like that companion that has the information of that's the collective wisdom of all of the Callum Johnson guests. And then whenever somebody has a question, it'll actually give them like a timestamp and a quote that could help them at that stage in their journey. And then maybe even give them the link to like the YouTube or something like that so they can actually watch the episode. But it's like the collective wisdom just of Callum Johnson guests. Is that
Yeah.
kind of what you're after?
I would that sounds amazing. And I think the one build that I would have on top of it, I would want to make sure that it's set up in a way where people feel like they're getting a personalized experience. So it feels like it's actually kind of getting to know them, and maybe even has like a few questions to begin, like a few initiation questions when you first use it. So it gets kind of like a base understanding of who you are, where you're trying to go. And then to your point, it then shares with them like stories from episodes of people that had very similar journeys, all with timestamps, but then also practical steps of like, this is actually what someone did, or like what you could do, but it's all based on the show.
Right.
Um, I think that's also, I think we should just like give that. We should give
Yeah,
that to
definitely.
ChatGPT.
All right, bet. So let's
Do you
do it.
want,
So I'm gonna open up.
well, well, you know what you could do actually, Dom? You could actually just share if you share your screen and just go,
That's a
you could
great
just
idea.
go on ChatGPT and we could see it. We can all see it.
You can see it. That's true. Let me share my screen here with you. Hey, what's up?
Hey there, how's it going?
Uh, yeah, it's going well. I have a business idea that I want to run by you really quick.
Absolutely, I'm all ears. What's your idea?
Yeah, so the idea here is to right now I'm on Callum Johnson's podcast, and we have an idea for a digital product that we want to build for his community. So he has like a really large collection of YouTube videos that are podcast conversations that are about like 1 to 2 hours long with various guests in business and entrepreneurship and mindset. And his Callum Johnson's whole brand is kind of wrapped around the philosophy of stay delusional. So what we're looking for is we want to build like a custom GPT that that is trained and has access to all of the a knowledge base of the transcript of every episode that he's ever had, and then asks the user a couple of questions about themselves to kind of personalize the experience. And then it allows the user to communicate with this Callum Johnson AI that is the collective knowledge and wisdom of all of his prior guests. And then it helps them to then start launching their own businesses. And it's like a companion on their entrepreneurship journey. Okay, so right now we are using ChatGPT 4.0. Okay, when you start talking through voice, it automatically is going to put us into ChatGPT 4.0. Okay, for the sake of this convo, I'm going to copy that and I'm going to start a new thread. So I'm gonna hit this button up top in the left to start a new conversation. So now, since this is a new convo, I'll be able to have access to the other reasoning models here. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna just paste that in and say, um, you know, hey, I have a business idea that I want to talk to you about. And then I'll just paste that same like transcript that I just did. You can do this through voice. It's just that we're having the technical difficulty of the AI thinking that we're interrupting it with speech when it hears itself talk, because I'm sending the audio to you as a viewer through my podcast microphone. So we're going to do it through text just so that you can see it, and we can continue working.
Yeah.
All right. So I just pasted in the transcript of me talking about that concept, the idea. And it says, this is a strong concept. You're basically building a branded wisdom engine fueled by long form interviews, which could become a flagship digital product for his brand. Okay, so here's how I would break it down. There's the core components to the build. So we need a transcript knowledge base. So we need to transcribe every podcast episode. That's great. We need to structure the data by episode, guest, timestamp, and topic tags. That's awesome. Okay. Custom GPT layer. So we need to go into ChatGPT and actually create the custom GPT. And we need to set the persona to mirror Callum Johnson and the collective guest wisdom, so we can actually have it write that. So as I'm reading this, I'm going to start typing in notes in the bottom. So first, I'm going to want it to write the prompt that describes this custom GPT's personality. Okay. I'll just say write the draft prompt. I'm not sure if I want to use this yet, but we'll see. All right.
And what, just take us behind your thinking. What makes you start there? Because I'm assuming that for people that are watching, they're gonna have their own version of this. They're gonna get this response from ChatGPT, and there's gonna be so many directions that their mind is like firing off. And so
Yeah.
it seems like as you're reading through, you're already drafting in the chat all of the different ways that your mind is firing off and like the different gaps kind
That's
of that
right.
you're starting to identify.
That's right. So right here on step 1, transcribe every podcast episode. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many episodes he has. Getting the transcriptions could be time consuming. Is there an AI tool that transcribes directly from YouTube video links? So that's one thing. That's a problem that we're going to need to solve. So I'll see. So I'm going to ask it that. The next thing here is write the draft prompt that describes the custom GPT's personality, because right here on step 2 it says we're going to need to set the GPT's persona to mirror you and the wisdom. So it already has an idea of that. So I'm going to have it create that prompt, and then we'll see if we like it or not. User onboarding questions. Prompt the user for, yes, their current goal. Okay, so these are the questions. So what I would ask is, what questions should we ask the user when they start using the GPT? How do we want that experience to feel, bro? Like when they start using it, how do you want that experience to feel for them? Do you want it to be like a long questionnaire? Do you want it to just be like, yo, what's your name? Like how personalized do you want that to be?
Yeah, I think and it's a great question. And I love this because we're like, this is like the step 1 of the process is the self-reflection we spoke about. The step 2 is using AI to actually fill in the gaps, like the business gaps. And that's what
Yeah.
we're doing literally in lifetime. So it's great. But on your question, I think the way that I'd want it to feel, my big thing is that I think that life changes for people when you take action on things. And so the thing that I would want to optimize towards is making it as easy as possible for the user or like the viewer to take action on whatever information they're getting. So I don't want to give them like a long checklist or like form of questions they have to answer. I want to give them like just what's necessary. I also want the questions to, like, even the way that they're written, to sound like to feel very personal, almost as if you were having a conversation with a friend. So I don't want it to be like a ton of like business jargon or like very niche terms. I want it to be very simple. And then I also want it to be like a very personalized, very approachable conversation where you don't need a ton of business previous business experience or expertise in order to get started.
Okay. So what I just did is right under where I wrote draft the prompt that describes the personality. I just said exactly what you said. Like, we want it to feel like you're having a conversation with a friend, like a personal experience, approachable convo, like they don't want to hear jargon. Okay.
You know, in the spirit of just time, one of the
Yeah.
things that I'm thinking it would be really cool, because we could fully build this out and it'd probably take us like a few hours. But
Yeah.
like, one of the things I think would be really interesting, what if we almost like we take what we already have, but then we do like a bit at the end of just this same chat thing of like my concerns. Like, you know, when you first start something, you have like a bunch of things that you're like either unsure about or you just don't know. And so I can like speak out to you like what some of my concerns or like things I just don't know that would make me almost not want to do this or think like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do it. And just give that to the chat as well. And it can literally fill in the business gap. Like, it can fill in that gap. What
Yeah.
do you think about that?
Yeah. What is a concern that you have? I genuinely think that we can build this in like 10 minutes.
So literally on that point, my first concern was like how, and I think this will be relatable for people. There's so many things that I'm working on. How long my concern is that this will take an incredibly long amount of time to build at the level of like quality and efficacy where like if I'm going to sell it to people and have it associated with the brand, it could actually deliver. So that's the first thing. It's like just the time aspect of it. The second thing is like almost like a liability question of like, what if this is almost giving out like advice or guidance to people? What happens in the use case where like it's not, it gives someone like bad advice or like it's not the advice that someone would want? So almost, would we have to have like a separate thing that almost teaches people how to use it? And like, will that create more of a burden on myself and my team and whatever, to kind of guide people and actually how to use it? And then let's say the third one, I have no idea what I would price this as. You know, let's say a third and a fourth. I have no idea how I would price this. I also don't know how I would market this thing.
Yep. Okay. So I just added all of these things. So I added in that I'm concerned that this is going to take too long. It won't deliver the value, that there's going to be liability if it gives bad advice. How do we solve this problem? Can we have a quick rundown of how to use it when they start? Can we give them? And then I also have no ideas how I would price this or market it. How do I get people to buy it? All right. And I'm going to go up here so that you guys can see O3. And I'm going to come here to edit. And then I'm going to switch this to just O3. And then I'll submit that.
Okay.
Now we can see that it's thinking and it's addressing the concerns. So it's looking at pricing and marketing considerations. It searched the web. It just found probably like 10 to 15, now 25 different. Okay, so in 17 seconds, it gave us a game plan. So this is the thinking process. If you click on this thought, it gives you the thinking process of everything it did. These are all of the links that it went to. So it actually went to the internet to find more information. And this was its thinking process. And this is what it gave us. So count and transcribe the episodes. If we use the YouTube data API, we could pull it in like 30. It takes 30 minutes to discover a total episode count. Build a knowledge base. We can chunk that up, wrap it with a custom GPT, and then ship it. So this is like, it broke down like the macro plan here. Instant transcription options. So it went and found all of these different tools that we could use to get a transcription. So let's see if this is actually real. How to get YouTube video transcripts. Great. You can use the API here, thoughts and insights. What I'm actually going to do is just go to your YouTube, and what I know is that there is a
like the transcript feature that's on YouTube.
there's already like a transcript feature on there, so we can kind of mock it up. So to see, so this was your most recent one. I'll just come here, I'll pause it, and then I'm going to come down to your transcripts, show transcript, and then I'm just going to copy this whole thing. And then I'm going to paste that into a Google Doc. So I'll say Callum Johnson, show transcripts. Boom. And there's the first one. And then I will cut these out. And then I'll come back here actually, and I will take this.
I think what you got with this one, this is like one of the clips. So this is like a snippet of an episode that it's not like a full episode.
Okay. So I'll take that. And we can do the full episode there too. So then I'll go over here to the full episode here. All right. Come down here to the transcript. Oh, cool. You have these as well. So this is awesome. About this video. Watch how fast we make this though. Watch how fast this actually works.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it because it's like what we were saying earlier in live time, which is it's all in this kind of new era. It's all about the speed. Like how quickly do you get to that first iteration of your product? And then you can go to your audience and test it and then come back if need be and create something new. And so we're showing people that in live time, which I just think is so cool.
Yes. All right, there we go. That's that transcript right there. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to export this as let me change the page though, so it's easy for the AI to read. Okay, and now I'm going to export this as a TXT, plain text. Is just really easy for the AI to read. So I'm going to export it as plain text. Okay, boom, I got it. Now we're going back to ChatGPT, and I'm going to go up here to the create, and this is CalumGPT, and then this is a collective wisdom of all Callum Johnson videos. And then we're going to come here to knowledge base, and then I'm going to paste in that TXT file that we just got.
Oh, the transcript file that we made.
Yes. So now it has that in its knowledge base. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll hit create.
And so for this demo, we only have one episode, but in theory, like it'd be pretty easy to get the transcripts from every episode of the show, put it into a Google document, and then upload it into this.
That's right. Okay. So now that we have this, I'm actually going to add this. I'll keep it in the sidebar. I'm going to come down here to the Callum Johnson AI companion and see where was its here's the first prompt. So you are CalumGPT, the distilled voice of Stay Delusional. The tone is upbeat, direct, no jargon, like a brutally honest friend cheering me on. Knowledge you only draw from verified insights in Callum Johnson's podcast transcripts. Has the guidelines, great. So I'm going to copy this. And then I'm also going to copy this. These are the kickoff questions to personalize. So I'll copy this as well. And I'll paste it into the bottom here.
As you're doing it, I also want to point out to people.
Yeah.
You even just did it. You are sense checking like what it's saying. It's not just like a mindless process where you're like taking exactly what ChatGPT said and then pasting it across. You actually were reading through and making sure like it's actually aligned, because it does make mistakes. And like I've seen that through using ChatGPT as well.
Definitely. Okay. So now we have this, and I'm also going to say like directly reference the episode transcripts as wisdom to share. So use quotes and information from the guest speakers and Callum to answer questions. Okay, and then a conversation starter, I'll just say start. All right, here we
Conversation
go.
starter, what does that mean when it asks for that?
A conversation starter is just like a pre-written prompt. So basically, like we can say kick off questions to personalize, and then I'll say when a user says start, begin, like greet them, tell them what this GPT is, and ask these questions.
It's almost like you're giving it like the onboarding like thing, like
Type.
this is the prompt to start the onboarding.
Right. That's right. So now we can view the GPT, and now we can say start. Now it's reading the document. It's reading that stuff. Yo, welcome. This is the distilled, no fluff voice of Stay Delusional. Think of me as your brutally honest mate in your corner, armed with wisdom straight from Callum Johnson's podcast. My job is to help you punch through the noise and build something that actually pays. Before we dive in, give me some information about yourself, right? Okay, and then it also says, I'm not a lawyer or a financial advisor. Double check critical moves. It gave us that because within the prompt we gave it, you said that you were concerned about it potentially
Of
like
the
getting bad.
liability.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then it also gave us this: fire back those 7 bullets in one go. The sooner I know your battlefield, the faster we can find your unfair advantage and start testing offers, because selling is what makes you an entrepreneur. From episode 53, Rogers on experimentation. Now, was that this? Yeah, Rachel Rogers. Okay.
Yeah.
So at some point she said this because selling is what makes you an entrepreneur. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now we could probably start talking to it. We could actually, what we could do is we could come here and say to this, I'm going to give it this right here, our business idea about the Callum Johnson thing, and then just see how
see what it says.
Responds.
I love it.
Yeah. It's evaluating.
And so
our
it's literally
business
directly
idea.
using the Rachel Rogers episode almost to like advise us through this.
It says, I'll also quote from the transcripts. Okay. Love the vision, stay delusional into an always on AI sidekick is spot on. Here's the straight path to make it real. Lock the raw fuel. So rip the full YouTube back catalog into clean transcripts. Okay. It's immediately like giving us the steps here. I'm not sure if this is how you wanted it to feel though. I feel like you wanted it to be a bit more personal and like a casual convo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the case. We just like iterate. What I might do is I might actually like screenshot this and make a post about it and be like, this is how I would then bring in social media. Is I would come here and I would make a video and I would be like, yo, peace fam, I'm making a digital product now for the Callum Johnson show, where it is all of the transcripts of his prior wisdom in an AI for you to talk to whenever you want to for the wisdom of everybody he's had on as guests. Do you want this to feel more like a friend that's talking back and forth to you? Or do you want it to be like an advisor on business that's giving you the exact steps? Just let me know. I have both here. This is what it looks like when it's just the exact steps, but I can change it, maybe even make both options for you to see. Just let me know what you actually want. I'm Dominic, Mr. Grateful. Peace. That's one of the videos, right? And then I post that. People comment. They're like, I like when my AI is more chill. I like when it talks about this. Oh, okay, cool. Now I know how to make that. I'll go in there and make that edit. I'll come here, edit GPT, and be like, speak more chill. 0 bullet points. Just
so you literally you're using social media to get instant feedback from target customers. You then take that instant feedback, input it directly into the GPT. In that instruction section, can you upload like screenshots, or can you upload like PDF? Like, can you put files in there, or it's all just text?
No. You can upload files. You can upload pictures. You can upload like all types of things.
So you could
Like,
literally screenshot what people are saying and then put it into the thing.
I screenshot my insights. So I'll go to ChatGPT, go on my metrics of how something performed. I'll give it the transcript of the content. I'll also, this is what like I built. This right here is AgentGPT. This is what I use for that. So like I'll do it right now. I'll go on. I have this video right here, which is about this one is about the epiphany of truth. So I will take this. These are my insights from that video. I will screenshot this. And then I'm going to upload it I'm going to send it to my Mac here so that you can see what's going on. So I'll show that in Finder. So now I will pull this over. All I have to do, this right here is the picture of my insights from a video that I just like recently posted, right? That's a lot of metrics. All I have to do is drop that in there and then be like, this was a video breaking down AI, social media, and mindfulness. And I can even like do this too. I'll do that. And then I'll also go to my comments and I will send an image of my comments over too. So you can see what this is going to look like. All right. So I just sent myself an image of the comments, an image of me so that it knows what it looks like. And an image, a screenshot of the comments here too. Okay. So we'll see what it has to say. It's thinking, it's reading the documents. Search is disabled and that you can't help with live or dynamic information for the past few months. Whoa. Whoa, that thing is tripping. Here we go. Whoa, that was weird. Okay, I've never seen that before. All right, so it broke down my views, the likes, all of these, and then it says what each one of these means. So this is a solid reach for educational reel. Quarter of the traffic is new people, so I need to push higher for discoverability cues. Anything above 4% on my likes to views is good. So it actually broke down as 4.9% of people who saw it liked it, and apparently that's a good thing. It's positive sentiment over here, under 1% for people who shared it, which is good, but I need to increase that. I usually crack like above 2%. Shows utility, that's good because the saves should say this is what each metric basically means over here. So here's what's working, but then it gave me the fixes for the next post, right? So I need to do these things now on my next post to improve it. And I literally follow this. And every time I follow this, my brand increases. I get better content, better metrics every time I listen to this and then implement it the next time, right? So that's the process. I am taking the metrics and the insight that I get from social media, giving it to AgentGPT. This is like a Grateful GPT. Just like I'm building it for Callum Johnson, this is the one I built for Grateful Labs.
Yeah.
Go in there and then I get this information and now I could go back. This says like, I need to make a story teaser or a CTA or something like that. Tap follow for a weekly AI, whatever, right? So I can now come back to this Callum. We made that edit to it before. I can make a new video now and just be like, yo, peace fam. I recognize that you guys wanted the AI to be a bit more chill. So I added in these notes right here, speak more chill with 0 bullet points, just be casual. I'm going to see if that works. Go ahead and use it again today and just let me know how that feels. If you want it to be a bit different in personality, let me know. I'll change it and then I'll share that prompt that I added in there before. Peace. And it's like just this iterative process, bro, back and forth of like actually building the thing, sharing it with your audience, and then updating it. So I can actually take this. So you can take this. This is the I can come here to edit the GPT, and we can get the link to it. Here we go. We can share it. So we can copy this link, and then you could technically, we don't have to do all of this right now, but you technically could say, you could come here to Replit and like build a product, like a whole website, or you could just go to like stand.store and you can make a button that looks like this. So it's just like download now. It's an easy button to make. You click download now, and then it gives the person the link to that GPT right from your bio. You know what I'm saying? So you
it's
made
just
a
such
business.
a seamless process from creation to actually now you can start distributing it, like putting it out there,
selling it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually a GPT, like after going through this process, is probably a really good thing for people to have. Like each individual creator can just type for a while their knowledge and the things that they know and their way of operating in the world, turn that into the knowledge base of a GPT and then sell it to their community. You know, like especially if you're like a fitness influencer or a herbalist or like something like that, right? Giving your information to it and giving your audience an AI companion to talk to would actually be like a pretty viable business you could start early.
To your point, I think anyone that has any sort of expertise or knowledge could do that. Like if you're just a coach, or if you're just like you're a personal fitness like training expert, like if you have any sort of knowledge that you can document and then feed into AI, so it has your repository of information, you could do that.
Yeah.
You know what? Just finally, I want to go to step 3, which is prototype it, build the website or automation with GPT support. So obviously we've built the full GPT. If someone wanted to actually build like a landing page or like a website, how would they go about doing that in a seamless way? Like, let's assume that the GPT is fully built, it's ready to go. I just want, rather than having like for example, like the Stand store that you showed, I actually just want like a landing page that's my form of a button. How would people go about doing that?
Yeah, you could if you didn't want to if you didn't know how to build your own website, like if you didn't know how to go to Squarespace or Framer and like build your website, you could go to a tool like Replit, or you could go to VO or V0, and you can basically build these like online websites just with prompting, how we were earlier talking to the ChatGPT before. So let's say I could even go back to ChatGPT here. This was the Callum Johnson startup guide. I'm going to switch over to model 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I want to build a website around this. Give me the prompt. I want to build a website around this that allows people to purchase this GPT and use it right on the website. I am using Replit to build this website. It's an AI agent that builds sites. Give me the prompt to teach it how to build a website for CalumGPT. Okay, here we go. So here we go. So here's the copy and paste. Here's the project. The core product, there's 3 plans. Users can chat directly on site, embed OpenAI chat completion endpoint. On the first visit, show a 30-second onboarding flow, ask 7 questions. Every reply ends with a bold move and a citation. The tech stack, it gives the exact tech stack for this, which is cool. Here's the pages, the hero page, the live demo page, the pricing table, 7-question wizard, store in the profile. There's a chat workspace. There's an answer liability, refund, and how to use for the FAQ, and then a legal page because You talked about that earlier. Then here's the visual guidelines, the system prompt for the GPT. Okay, great. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to go back over here to Replit. I'm literally just going to paste it in.
Can you, as this is working through, Dom, because you have such a good like overview of the whole space. Because I know you have like Replit, you have V0. I've seen people talk about Lovable. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many tools and agents at this point. How are you making the distinction? Like, when do you tend to use these different, like, are the use cases slightly different for each one, like a V0 versus a Replit, or it's just personal preference? Like, how are you deciding to use like Replit in this example?
Yeah, I am. All of these products are on, or yeah, all of these options are on a spectrum of automation when it comes to how much technical knowledge you have, and also on a spectrum of versatility. So like some can only do a desktop website and like HTTPS. Others can only do like mobile apps for the iPhone, right? So for instance, like Roark here, it builds mobile apps. And like I've built like a meditation timer in here before on this account, it looks like. Right. So I can literally just scan this on my phone and start to use this application. It's text to app to like mobile app. And I don't have to have like any prior knowledge of coding or anything to use this. But like if I went to Cursor allows me to build out mobile apps, desktop apps, websites, like all of that. But I need more technical knowledge of coding in order to like operate it. Right. So but it's more versatile. Right. So it's just, it's on a spectrum of like, it's on a spectrum of, of knowledge and versatility, right? So Replit right here allows me to build websites with no coding experience.
So if you're like,
so it's a good place to start for this.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you're first time getting into this, it's like, it's so easy, especially if you're already familiar with kind of using these kind of like chat LLMs. It feels more familiar.
Yeah, exactly. So this one right here feels much more like ChatGPT. Basically, you're just talking back and forth with it to build a thing. So that's what I'm doing here. I gave it this information. I gave it the prompt that ChatGPT gave me over here, and also since it already knew all this information about what I wanted to build from the idea, I could stay in that exact chat and I could then just ask it like, yo, I want to build a website. Give me the prompt to build a website now. I don't have to like reprompt it and give it all that new info. It already knows. So I can just say, hey, like now I want to build a website around this. Give me that prompt. And now I'm using 2 AI tools at one time to build. Okay, so now it's here. It's asking me show more features. These are all the features that it's going to integrate into this. So we could like remove some if we don't want them. But for the time being, this is what it thinks is best. So I'm just going to approve the plan and start. And literally now it is beginning to build. It started building your app and it's going to start rolling.
Okay, so for Replit, you would say it's the easiest for like the first time user to build, and you can build, and it's the best at building, what would you say, landing pages? Like what are kind of the use cases that I would have for Replit specifically? Can it build apps? Like how far does it go?
Yeah, so this is just building like web apps. It's not building like, you can use it to build mobile apps and desktop apps, but what it's really, you are gonna need to then have some technical knowledge of, you need some other like plugins and things for it to do that.
Okay.
Right. In that case, if I was doing that, I would probably just use like Cursor, or I would use Roark if I was trying to build like a mobile app. Right. But But in this case, Replit is just really good for building like web applications, right? So in browser applications. So I can build out a website experience using Replit. There are many possibilities with these tools because this is a coding agent. So there's plenty that you can build with it. But for instance, this is probably like a really good use case for this. I'm going to have to give it the API key for like OpenAI here so it can use that to do what we're asking it to do. But yeah, that is how I'm using Replit. That's like the best use case for Replit that I have. And you can also see like what other people are building. If you go to Replit here, I think that there's a place where you can actually go and see like
you can see what other people are building on Replit, and that's also inspiration, I guess.
Yeah, so you can actually ask people to like, yo, I need you to like fix these things on my. But yeah, there's a place where you can actually go explore like what other people have built. I want to find that. It's basically like a inspiration hub, right, of what everybody else has built with it. I know that VO definitely has that. So V0 does that pretty well. So here, like this is V0. You can come down here and see like what other, this is from the community. So explore what the community is building with VO. You can come here and like kind of see some ideas that people have built.
That's cool. You know, on that point, because, and I know we're not going to go through Roark in this video, but will you say that you wanted to build a landing page, so a web experience, but then you also wanted like an iOS app? It's possible that like someone could start their process in ChatGPT. They obviously create the exact prompt that they need. They use ChatGPT to create the prompt for Replit. They could also create a prompt for Roark. So like I could have like 3 tabs open. I could have ChatGPT, I could have Replit working on my landing page, and then I could have Roark working on my iOS app. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could be doing this, and not only that, but you could have multiple of these tabs open, working on multiple app ideas at one time, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, don't find one idea you like. Don't even limit yourself. Like, you could be running multiple. Go build 5 apps at the same time and just like see what works and what doesn't. It's just like don't even, if you have 20 app ideas, don't feel like you even have to limit yourself. Like, go build all 20.
Yeah. I guess the second thing, can you talk about that mindset of like, and we've kind of been doing it through our whole conversation, is contrasting the old way of building things with the new way. And you spoke about something that's actually really interesting, which is like, in the old way, it was all about just go build one thing and then that's it, and then try and sell that thing. In this new way, you actually just said it. You're like, just go build everything. Like, you can just build everything. Like, over the course of a weekend or an evening, whatever, you could just go down the rabbit hole and build everything. Can you talk about why is that mindset shift important in this new era?
Because you're capable of it now. So when your capacity increases, so should your mindset. So the capacity to build has increased. So you no longer have to be limited by the time and skill set of the past either. You can then raise your cognitive processing to the level of the technical capacity that you have. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You know, are we how are we looking on the Replit?
Do you want to see it?
Replit stuff.
Yeah, let me show it to you. Your business mentor built from 400 plus hours of real conversations.
Nice.
Get personalized business advice backed by insights from the world's most successful entrepreneurs. CalumGPT learns from the Stay Delusional podcast archive to give you actionable tactics, not generic advice. Okay, so let's see. We can see if any of these things work. Why
It's literally a
CalumGPT?
fully built out website.
Fully built website. Real insights from real entrepreneurs, brutally honest advice, actionable, bold moves, sourced and cited. Every insight comes with episode and guest citation, so you can deep dive into the full convo. Trained on real conversations. They even added like the podcast. You could add your own images in there, of course, but that's cool that it did that. Trusted by founders who stay delusional. It gave us a quote here. Finally, business advice that doesn't sound like it came from a textbook. CalumGPT actually gets what it's like to build something from nothing. Ready to start building. So we can see if this, try the free demo. All right, try CalumGPT free. Get a taste of personalized business mentoring powered from 400 plus hours of entrepreneur interviews. 999 messages remaining, 400 plus hours of content. Try asking about idea validation, common mistakes. So I didn't give it the ChatGPT API yet, so it probably won't be able to actually like respond to us though. That's cool. So when I hit one of these buttons over here, it automatically prompts in this box.
Oh, so it's built out. That's so cool. It's built out all the functionality of it.
Yeah. Whoa. It did respond.
You know, we won't go through it now because this could be like a whole nother video. But say that I'm looking at even like the homepage of the website and I want to make changes. I guess I just go back to the Replit chat and I'll say, okay, I want like a different image, or I want like the design to be different. Like, what's the way that people can actually, once they get their kind of first version, they can actually go back and make edits? Like, what have you found is the best way, the fastest way to give it feedback? Or even has the pricing tiers. That's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just in incognito mode right now because we're in the preview page. But yeah, it has the pricing. I mean, yeah, then you just talk to it. You just say what you want. This is called, they call this NLP. It's natural language processing. It's basically like, which means that these AIs understand natural language. They're designed to understand just speaking naturally, conversationally. This is why I want to eradicate like prompt engineering, is because like that word prompt engineering even makes people feel like weird, like they got to talk to it some specific way. Prompt engineering is really good when you need to engineer an AI product for a person. So like, for example, when we built the CalumGPT and this right here, this was prompt engineering. We had to engineer the AI so that it could speak a particular way when it was interacting with users, right? When you're actually talking to it though, it's just natural language. It's just a conversation. You can be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? What's good, fam? Like I need to make a milli this week off of business. Like what's some ideas? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you can talk to it, right? So anyway, it actually gave us some. You legally become a business the moment someone pays for your product or service. So don't overthink. This is actually really good advice that that CalumGPT gave. But the point here is like you can just speak naturally to it. So we can just say like, let's change all of the orange to. Do you want a different color?
Yeah, like so our brand colors are, what is it, black and yellow.
Okay.
So maybe instead of orange, we use yellow. And you could literally, I'm assuming you could literally just give it the hex code. Like if you have like a brand, whatever, you could give it the hex code and it would get the exact color of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can say like, change all the orange to yellow and change the brand name from CalumGPT to CalumGPT. Just one L. And make sure.
You could actually, so for example, like say that I love how the Apple website looks. I could just take screenshots of Apple's website. Could I then input those into like Replit, for example, and then just be like, I want the design aesthetic and the look and like the minimalism of Apple's website, like, can you infuse that into, like, could we do that theoretically with Replit?
Yeah, not even theoretically. We could do it practically, so we could take this and just drop it in there and be like, yo, I think I want I want the design to feel more like this image of apple.com landing page. Okay, so you need to everybody needs to understand that these AIs are capable of receiving text, yes, and voice, yes. Also, images, charts, PDFs, right? So, just like there's not necessarily even a limit. Like the mindset that I want to really get across is like push it to its limits. And eventually, if it can't do it now, it'll be able to do it. But like just push it to its limits. Like, yes, if you have an idea for how you want something to look or feel, drop the screenshot in there and ask it. But like the true thing that we're going for here is like excellence. It's like the AI isn't even as good as me yet. My ideas transcend what even it's capable of. You know what I'm saying? So like really push these things to their limits. Be excellent in what you do. Have high standards for what you do. Have a clean eye for how you want everything to look, and then have AI work for you to achieve that. So, Replit is just one of those tools that allows you to do it. And as an AI, it also accepts images, charts, PDFs, text, voice. So like it does kind of accept voice, but it's just kind of like the transcription voice. So I can hit the microphone here. And it'll start listening to me on mobile. So mobile Replit app does have voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah, it's just like, yes, you absolutely can. Like, really, I would love to just push these things to its full limit, to get the most out of it, right? So if you want it to look a particular way or anything like that, like it's great to have high standards for it and really like, just try, right? Just
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
Just
And
try.
it's cool because you start to see how it's already like integrating some of like the Apple design
Mhm.
philosophy, like even the color
The
of the
button,
buttons and like the
right?
white and whatnot. And like we would definitely have to go back and forth with it
Yeah,
through several iterations to get to the point where it's like a website that we're happy with.
yeah.
But you can see the process. Okay, here's what I want to do before we get out of here, Dom. And maybe you can just accommodate me with this. And I love what you did where like you put your palms out and you close your eyes. Because right in the beginning of this episode, we set such like a, or I'll say you set such a beautiful intention for this conversation. And I am sure that for the people listening, there's people listening at home right now that are like, the ideas are just firing off in their mind of what's possible. I want to make it as simple as possible. And simplicity has been the word for us this whole conversation. For them to go from idea to first action, right? Because once you start taking action, you start getting momentum. Momentum is what gets you results and it gets you to places you never dreamed possible. And so I want to fast forward that to people. And so if people are watching this and they're thinking, okay, I need to do something this weekend to action on it, I want us to set them a challenge of like, if you've reached this point of the episode, here's a challenge of one thing that you're going to do after this that it's going to put you on the path to whatever the thing is. And so, Dom, I don't even want to like set too many parameters for you. When I say that, when I say what's a challenge that we can give the person sitting at home, that they've just listened to this conversation between you and I, they're ready to go out into the world and start making, producing, putting something out there. What is a challenge that we could set them this weekend, whenever they get their downtime, that they can start?
I challenge them to do it now. Not this weekend. Do it now. Right now. Take the first step immediately. Now. Like right now. We did it. Right when we opened our hands, we got the download and the idea immediately. So we started doing it now. We're in the middle of a podcast and we're like, yo, let's start building let's do it now. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it now. So there's always that right there. Like personally, you know what AI couldn't have done is it couldn't have built itself. It needed it needed the human to build it. Now it can start going and doing its thing, but it wasn't in existence before we built it. My point here is that what is that moment right when you look at like an empty canvas and you decide to pick up the paintbrush and make a stroke? What is that moment when you think of someone that you love, so you pick up the phone to text them immediately? What is that feeling that you get when you have an idea, so you immediately pull out your phone to start asking AI about it? What is that feeling? And the people that are able to create the best things in this world that we use today shorten the gap between that first impulsive thought and the action that they took to make it happen. So like, do it now. I don't really think there's anything to wait on. Like, unless you're driving right now, or unless like
pull over. That's what we're telling you. We're telling you pull over.
Like, do it now. Like, that's my challenge for you, is to shorten the gap between the idea that you have and the first step you take to go do it. And what happens is, if you just like stay on that track, you actually start to I was told the other day, like, how to run. Somebody was talking about how to run. They're like, your running is really like you just like kind of placing your feet back and forth like this, but you just lean forward a little bit, so that every step that you're doing is kind of just catching you from falling over, right? And every step that you're taking in your business is that. It's just like, I'm not asking you to go like try to jump a building, like jump over a street. I'm not asking you to like go skydive. Just lean forward a little bit and then catch yourself. So like, that lean is the idea, and make sure you catch yourself with that first step. And it's very subtle. It's gentle. It's gradual. It's iterative. It's artistic. It's flow. And I challenge you to simply take that step instantly. So whatever it is that you want to do, just do. Like, it is not my job, and it's not your job, Callum, to make them start. Like, nobody can make somebody start. Nobody can do that. Nobody can do that. I can place an empty canvas in front of somebody, give them a paintbrush, and not say anything. I can't make them start. Right? What was it? Like, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink, or whatever.
You can't make
something
it drink.
like that. Like,
yeah,
exactly. Like, we can't make somebody start. We can have this conversation and show them all the tools and give them all the mindset that they need. Give them all of the collective mindset of human intelligence and Callum Johnson's previous podcast. But like, we can't make somebody paint the first stroke. Can't make somebody prompt ChatGPT. Can't make somebody post their button. Can't make somebody pull out their phone and talk to it and tell people, yo, I have a new idea and I'm finally going to believe in myself and just do it. Can't make somebody do that. We can show them. So the challenge that I have for them is to take that first initial step themselves, believe in themselves, so that they can go shorten that gap between the idea that they have and execution. And if you don't have the idea, the very first step is to sit down with yourself quietly. This is it. All right, here it is. I challenge you to go somewhere quiet, sit down, close your eyes, open your palms, and wait. And just see what comes to you. Invite an idea and sit with yourself and just wait. I challenge yourself to do that. And then if something amazing comes to you, which I can almost guarantee that it will, because We have 400 million years plus of natural intelligence and wisdom built into us. We can close our eyes, ask, tap into that wisdom, get something, and then shorten the gap from whatever that concept or idea is to the very first step that we take to do it. If that first step is writing the idea down in your journal, do that. If the first step is drawing it out, do that. If the first step is going to ChatGPT, do that. If the first step is making a video about it for Instagram, do that. Whatever it is, but just shorten that gap and go sit with yourself if you don't know what that is yet. That would be my challenge.
You know what? I love that. And I wanna give people one more build, which is, yes, the challenge is to go in a quiet space, take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long it is, sit with your palms open, eyes closed, and just speak it out loud what that inspiration is, whatever that business ideas are that just kind of flow to you in that moment. What are those pain points, those frustrations that you've been having that you think you could actually build a solution around, and just let it flow to you. And if you're feeling especially bold, what we're going to do, and I just came up with this on the fly, my team and I will create like a Google form. We're going to put it in the description of this episode, and you can send whatever the idea is, whatever you come up with in that quiet time, send us what your favorite idea is. And that's almost like your first step, your first bit of momentum of like, you took action from this video. Like, that's the first win. And from there, you can move forward and like go to the other steps that we mentioned in the process. But that will be your first win for this video. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Hey, amen. I love that. You just gave them the first
we just
step.
did
That's
that,
dope.
though.
Yeah. That's collaboration.
We collaborated on that.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Dumb, man. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I know that you and I could talk for days, man. We could do this forever. So, yeah, thank you for having me on. I have gratitude for everybody who took the time to watch this as well. Thank you for spending that time with me. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.
You're here with us.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much, man.
Okay, so if you enjoyed this episode, you're going to absolutely love what we did with this one right here. Click here.